Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Ekiti, Ekiti Discourse podcast. Today, we have on the show one of Ekiti best, a former personal assistant to Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of Nigeria, and a former House of Representative member who represented the people of Ekiti North Federal Constituency 1. Many people know him as Bimbo. Some call him the Congressman. I am Kasali Ashwaju Oluwafemi.
My name is Daramola Kolade.
My name is Awoli Fani.
Welcome to the show. To the Congressman. Can we meet you, sir?
Well, thank you very much, Kasali. I call him KSL. You know, there used to be a designer back then, and his acronym was KSL, not YSL. You had KSL. I think the origin must have been somewhere in Europe or somewhere. Anyway, thank you very much, KSL and your team. My name is Bimbo Daramola, and incidentally, some people feel that Congressman is an alias. It is actually not, and I've had to defend this on the floor of the National Assembly. I don't believe in this thing about honorable, because indeed, winning an election does not make you a honorable member. It's what you do post your time in the National Assembly or wherever you are that makes you a honorable man. And anyway, honorable is parliamentary. So I was born 19 so many years ago. You know, everybody knows my I don't have secrets. You know, so I was born over 55 years ago, reasonably so. And then in Ekiti here, my parents, unfortunately, my mom is late, my father is alive, both of them were teachers. I went to Christ School at Ekiti. I have a very strict upbringing. From Christ School at Ekiti, I went to the then Ondo State University at Ekiti. And I think we were the second set. You know, we started out from Christ School at Ekiti. A part of Christ School was dedicated to to the takeoff of that university at the time. I studied geology, and then when I graduated, I went off to Kaduna for youth service, and then the Zangon cutoff crisis broke. You know, I'm trying to abbreviate this journey. You know, the Zangon cutoff crisis broke, and I had to relocate back to Lagos. This was, by the way, I finished in 1989. You know. And then went off to Lagos, got a job in Savannah Bank, Broad Street. Couple of years later, my uncle used to be the executive director of Savannah Bank. It's late now, Thomas Bitimi Iti, you know. And so I got this job. Incidentally, I got a job walking through a door that had no vacancy at the back of it, you know. So, so I actually walked through this door, and I thought I was going to a room where I was going to be slammed with no vacancy. But I walked through that door, that thing posted on the back, and then came out with letter of employment, the Nigerian thing. So after that, I went off to University of Ilorin for masters, because we heard in the bank that there were agitations about people who came from the science background taking jobs that people felt were traditionally jobs for guys coming out of humanity, arts, and all of that, or social sciences. So I quickly dusted my sleeves, and I told my uncle I'd rather go do MBA in Ibadan. And then it turned out that was another story. Okay. My eye don't see. You know, so I left. Then there was this professor who said, and my father was the one that took me to him, and I was all puffed up, and I was telling me, you have a third class, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody I have a third class, but it doesn't matter. It hasn't got anything to do with where God has brought me today. And people are ashamed of, friends. So I'll quickly tell you the story. And then this guy said to my father, right to my father's face, and said, Sir, you taught us in Christ school. We can't even believe that you bring a son who has a third class to come to University of Ibadan's quotarized MBA class. And I went into a rage. I was like, you know, I said, well, let's bet. Within the next 18 months, I will have MBA. And he said, look, I said, look at your office, look at you. And he was a very serious man in you at the time. And I said, I can't even pay, my salary can pay you, you know. And I wasn't saying that derogatorily, I just felt that it was wrong for you to slam it in my father's face. And I said, listen, you have the first, or you have the 2-1. Wole Soyinka has the third class or had the third class. Femi Falana, third class. And a number of other people had third classes. Ganifa Emi, are you greater than any of them? You know. And the people, his students will come and say, you know, so, because the man was actually a bully of a sort, you know. Anyway, cut long story short, I took that like, I'm a very determined person, you know. I'm a very fearless person, you know. If there's anything that I know about myself is the fact that I can dare the lion. I can dare anybody, you know, if I believe in the cause. You know, so long and short of it, I went off to University of Ilorin to do the masters. I eventually did a couple of years later, and then here we are today, and I'm trying to do a PhD and law now.
Wow.
You know. Maybe they retired me now. They said they retired me now, so let me go and.
So that's when you want to add to Congressman, Honorable Barrister.
Well. I have this thing for books, obviously. I love books a lot. So I have a very rich study of all kinds of books. I have newspaper collections that could fill this room, you know. So I would love to have a PhD, no doubts about it. And then the law part, yes, at some point, if I don't get tired, you know. But I'm a little bit on the restless side. But that's it.
That's a beautiful story.
You've not heard my story yet. Wait for my memoirs now.
So, sir, Congressman, we hear that a lot. So, why are you actually referred to as Congressman?
Okay. Well, and I remember that Dr. Fahmy was always taunting me with that, say, the only Congressman. And this was the argument, actually. We run a presidential democracy system that is fashioned after the United States of America. And then people who are in the Congress in the United States are called congressmen. What we call the National Assembly is called the Capitol in the US, as you know. And then in 2011, when we got elected, I first ran for House of Representatives in 2007. And then, so the Department of State picked myself and 7 others to go to the US on a program called International Visitors Leadership Program, IVLP. It's a very, very regarded program, you know, sponsored by the Department of State. And out of 360 members for the 7th Assembly, I turned out to be one of them that went. So, and then one of the things that we had to do that was scheduled for us was to visit the parliament, the state legislature, the national legislature, and all of that. So, and that interview, I spoke with one man, he's late now, his name is Congressman Payne. I think he's from, I'm not sure whether it's North Carolina or somewhere, it's black. And then we talked about it, and I said, when I got back, I was like, why are we cherry picking? You pick this one, you dumped it. You pick this one, you pick this from parliamentary in UK, you pick this one presidential in the US. And I'm like, okay, this honorable thing is parliamentary. And of course, we started out as a parliamentary, you know, we had the parliamentary system of government. And then we dovetailed into presidential. Well, I said to myself that, again, winning an election does not make you a honorable man. If we want to go by that. We've seen all kinds of people who have gone to the parliament today and done all kinds of stuff. And then, so I said, I'd rather, you know, extend the frontiers of our nomenclature of this presidential democracy that we have copied. And I chose that, okay, I'm going to be a congressman. And Tambo, I used to say that. It was a big thing on the floor, and I said, I insist that I'm not going to be called. I will leave it to people who voted for me to tell me whether I'm honorable when I'm done with this job, because I took it as a job. And I said, if you work in the Congress in the United States as a parliamentarian, you are a congressman, particularly on the green side, which is the green chamber as well. They also have that. And if you work on the other side, it's red. So I adopted that, and that's it.
Thank you very much. I think it's good to finally know
why
you are called the congressman.
Yes.
But my question is, how did your role as a PA to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar played out for you? And how did it prepare you for your role as a congressman?
Okay, this is a long story. Well, you know the way it was in 1999, or in the run-up to 1999, I was on the Ashwaju side. Yes. I actually got angry at some point when we took an idea to I took an idea to one of his cousins, Deji. He's late now. He used to be a journalist, a sports journalist. Was the one that rigged me up with Ashwaju, and Ashwaju took a liking. And then, of course, Deji young man. I was a young man. He was a journalist for LTV at the time. So we went to see him, and I took an idea called mobile billboards to him. At that time, there were no mobile billboard vehicles, And I said, well, this will help your campaign, Let's do it. And I actually liked it, this same president. This was 12th of December, I left 12th of December. So pre-12th of December 1998, I went and I said, and then there was this gang up of people who felt that, why would this boy just come? Some people had, minds that I was coming to make money off the campaign, but I felt that we were going to add value. I mean, say what you will, Ashwaju extremely popular, but he had to deal with the sentiments of the guy who got killed, Williams, and all of these people, and the Babas and Afeni Ferry, Funshaw Williams, Baba, all the. So I felt that nooks and crannies that people had ordinarily gotten too used to posters. And I have a master's in advertising anyway and communications, and we know that the lifespan of every poster is just 2 minutes. Once you see it once, you move on. You don't read it anymore. So it's even less than 2 minutes today. You just say, okay. Oh, it's Bimbo. Okay. You just go, isn't it? From big, right? So I said, let's do something different. So I introduced that mobile billboard thing. I had the illustration, and don't forget, this was 2008 when too many people that we didn't have. We were using what was the graphic software we were using then. I've forgotten. I remember. I remember. So I took it to him, and I showed you liked it. But I know I don't want to mention the names of the guys. Some of them are still there now. One of them is still there now, and the other one, So, and I said, okay, fine, we'll do it. And they were going to put some budget aside for me to do it. As a young man, I know what I'm saying. I'm not lying. This is the truth, So. All of a sudden, I just knew that they were talking that, okay, with this money that you want to spend on this guy's idea, why don't you just use it for posters? I said, you guys have been printing posters. Excuse me, I didn't print posters now. So why don't you just do something different? I left the bank because, listen, too many ideas come into my head. Hunches, different, and I've done a number of them. When I was sorry, I digressed. When I left my job in Savannah Bank, everybody felt, Bimbo, he don't share. My father called me. And I said, well, this job wasn't taking me anywhere. My boss, Mrs. Orishe, pretty woman with low cut, I remember, said, well, you're a young man, we'll allow you to go and sow your wild oats, but we'll keep this job for 3 months for you. And for Savannah to keep a job for you, hold it down for you for 3 months back then, when people were right on the side of the fence looking for a job, because I did my job really well. But I began to get dissatisfied when we were passing entries using the same description every day, being amount debited Kasali's account and credited to Fumbi's account. How can I be doing that, as a young man? So, among other things, I tried to get into Commerce Bank. They had their own paraquat thing. So I just said, get out, and I left. So I remember the day I'm going to come back to this story. I remember the day I left. I was living with my immediate senior brother Bumi then in Ijushaga in Lagos. And then I had taken my leave pre-departure from the bank. And then I scribbled, okay, fine. Then it was the day to resume. I got dressed, I got into my car, cranked the car, and I sat in the car and I was like, am I going back to this job? And this was right at the center of Savannah Bank, at Broad Street, in Lagos. It was a choice job. We were the guys happening. We were comfortable. We would leave on Fridays, we would leave and go to some Misaleko and do all the things that boys used to do and all of that, have a good time. So I got tired of it. So I wrote, and my brother was looking at me from upstairs and I said, Bimbo, no money. I said, Buma, me lo jare. I said, okay. So the second day, the same thing happened. And then that day I just called somebody. I called one of the Aburo Waladubo. I said, we'll take this to the bank. And we didn't have, the 080, we had 090 at the time. I didn't have one, and there was no landline in my brother's house. Excuse me. So, cut long story short, Mr. Orisha called my father. It was Ekiti's mobile number, landline then was 030. Yeah. So called my father and said, a lot of people loved me in the bank. I used to dress well and all of those things. And then they share, if they roger me for till, I'll share them, When they square me money, when customers come and say, they put this money in an envelope or squeeze it in my hands, everybody knows that we'll do lunch together. I know they shop a lot, So, so they were all concerned, hey, don't go. And there was no way to reach me. It was my father who now told me that, Bimbola, my parents called me Bimbola, said, is this why you're leaving the bank? I said, yes. And then, don't forget I'm going to get masters. My immediate junior brother was like, Kiloman Shinyigon. A lot of people felt it was pride, but when you're confident of what you're going to do, so anyway, cut a long story short, I left, went and then began to push my own ideas, all these ideas that took me to Ashiwaju, and then these guys began to push the idea of posters and all that. I said, I beg, if this is what they're going to do on the 12th of December 1998, I just walked through that door and I said I was leaving. And then I remember Ogbeni Aregbeshola came after me. You had on Jelami, I remember with that Muslim guy. I said, Bimbo, holy law. I should do holy law. Why are you leaving? I said, I'm being controlled. And as a young boy, why am I being controlled? Tell the need bar. It's in called my poster. No. So from there, I went to meet Kenny Martins. Boy, I didn't know from anywhere. I just used to read these people, and I would see the way they would write about him and say, President Obasanjo's in-law, because he was married to Kenny Martins, and Taiwo was married to Mr. Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, or General Obasanjo as it was then called. And then I just carried myself and then began to look for where the guy was. And they said he was somewhere, he had an office around Adeniji Jones. I just went there and one evening, on a Tuesday, and I said, I wanted to see him. So he said, from where? I said, from Ikeja here. He said, this. I have this idea that I think will help General. The election was going to be February 13, and this was December. I said, I'm not too sure. And don't forget that General Obasanjo was a hard sell, torn between being a military man, coming from a military, the transition, why are we handing over to that? So I said that at the root of my idea is that mobile billboard, we can reach more people than posters. 2 is a strange site, walking through nooks and crannies. You can change the message. You can't change the message that you already have on the poster and all that thing, all those things. And then, so he said, very good. His name is Chief Kenny Martins. He headed the police, something service commission or something at the time. Anyway, cut long story short, he said, so what do you want me to do? I said, I want to meet General Obasanjo. He said, okay, come on Thursday. From nowhere, you know. So on Thursday, I went to meet him, and now said, oh yeah, we now face daughter, you know. And I like people to challenge me, you know. So I took the fact that they weren't going to take the idea at Ashwaju's camp. I took it and I was like, well, and I'm not afraid. One of the things that pushes me is the fact that I have conquered death. I don't care. If death comes today, so be it. I don't care. So I said, what's it? Let's go. So he took me and he said, we should go to Otta. And then we got to Otta, fast tracking this story, you know. We got to Otta. It was an engaging discussion. He asked me, and on the way, he was asking me, he sat at the back, he put me in the front seat, and he was like, where are you from? Blah, 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 this, that. Anyway, cut long story short, we got to Otta. That was the day after General Obasanjo was released from prison. And then I met 5 people there. His in-law, Dr. John Abebe, Bodunde Adeyanju is from here, Uncle Bodunde, who is from here, Gochukwu Onyema, Otumba Oyewole Fashawe, and then who else? One other guy, I can't remember now, you know, one other guy. Yeah, I can't, no, Ado Beobe, you know, who turned out to be his PPA when he became president. I said, they had finished talking, and then I was like, Shima, you need sorrow, for the general. I wasn't with them, they were talking when we got there. So he went to meet them, joined them, and then they were talking. So I was like, so mine was like an anecdote. And that's, General Obasanjo was calling, they called him General at the time. So, General, there's this young boy who has an idea, and I want him to just quickly, please, telephone 2 minutes, because I saw. And then I went to meet him, and I said, good afternoon, I thank God that you just came out of prison, and sir, there's a lot of work to do, we still need to reach some news and cranes, and blah, 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 blah. And that this is it, and I just looked at it like this, oh, this will work. He just took my hand like this and put it in the hand of Chukwu Onyema, who later became the NDDC chairman, the first NDDC chairman. And my story is boring, Yogi.
No, it's not boring.
You know.
Interesting story.
Anyway, so put my hand in his hand like this. Literally, I said, go and work with me. That was where I joined their campaign. And then fast forward, we worked in the campaign, did that idea, and then they felt that I was resourceful, and then we won the election. I'm abbreviating now because, you know. So we won the election, we got to Abuja. When we got to Abuja, the president called us one day and said, what do you guys want to do? And then some of my friends said, oh, they want to be SA, Tunde Olusunle, Stevie Tubu, and all of these people, and all of that. And I said, sir, I have seen the documentary of Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, but our national archives are empty. I would like to shoot a documentary of your lifetimes and works. He looked at me like this. I said, yes. I said, because at the end of the day, I said, like Nigeria has presented a trajectory, and at various episodic moments, and Obasanjo had showed up. Either when you took the surrender of the Biafra, or you became president after Murtala Mohammed, or blah, 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 blah. Then, now. He said, so I now said, when 2 destinies are interwoven, that of a nation and a statesman, there's a story. He said, yes, we do it. We do it. We do it. You know, so I was happy, you know. So, oh God, my eye don't see you. General Obasanjo, as it was then called, he had become president-elect at this time, you know, and then was excited about the prospect of shooting that kind of a documentary. And I said it was going to be, I don't do my things small, no. I go all out, and that's the truth. If you want to do anything, just do it well. And that's where I have to give you guys some credit, you know. To think that a state like ours does not have a dedicated podcast, you know. And I thank you guys for filling the gap.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's very smart and brilliant of you. When you shared it with me, I said, oh, nice guys. You guys are thinking, you know. So, he now said, okay, fine. Then rigged me up with the Adobe guy, and then the crisis started. Why would this boy now become, you know, and to be a president's biographer? Hey, you know, I was smelling waiting the inside. They don't know, but I had seen far, you know. So, and then we came into it, and then I needed, and General said he wasn't going to fund it. That wasn't going to fund it. I said, okay, no problems. I need an endorsement. I need it on black and white and paper that you have endorsed me as your biographer. And then he approved that they should write me a letter. So they wrote me that beautiful letter, 3 paragraphs. And I said, this is all I need, you know. So when I got that, you know, and I went to Uncle Solo, it was his ADC at the time, God bless his soul, Governor. It was Colonel Solomon Giwa at the time. It was from Irua or somewhere in the extremely good man, extremely, I'd never seen, or he's one of the people that I would give credit for what God has done in my life, you know. So I said to him, I said, so he just said, he calls me this man, like, you know, he's a soldier. So, you know, I said, this man, Bimbo, what is it again? I said, Uncle Solo, I just got a piece of paper. And this is like right on the fence of where I want to go in life. You know, now I'm the president's biographer, but we don't have money to fund the kind of project I want to fund. And then he said, okay. I knew that Baba won't fund it. You know, Baba knew this cheap money. He said, okay, wait. And doubt in the villa, it was ADC to President Obasanjo, the first ADC before Jamie Tola and all of that. And then pressed the pa. Hello. My brother, how now? There's this young man, resourceful man here. He has a beautiful idea. Baba has already endorsed it and all of that. Please, can you let him see Oga? The guy who he called was the PPS, Abdullah Yako, to Atiku Abubakar. You know, so.
Abdullah Yako?
Yes, Abdullah Yako. And then, that now must have said to him, tell him to come. So, I took that 7 minutes walk from the ADC to the president's office, straight up to the PPS of the vice president, Atiku Abubakar at the time. And that was where my life changed.
Wow.
So he said, oh, so what is it? And then I said, well, this is the idea. And today, to the glory of God, I challenge anybody to come and bring their own production about any leader in this country. We don't even have. I'm trying to shoot Baba Ferristo now, you know. I discussed with a friend of mine, how can we have somebody like Baba Ferristo and then we don't have a documentary about it? The kind of, maybe one of these days I'll send you a copy of this, my documentary. Because when we finished, Australian TV asked for broadcast right one time, $100,000. And I'm talking about 2000, we premiered it on the 29th of May, 2002. 2002. You know, we didn't compromise. I didn't compromise on anything. You know, I went to many, at least several nations, trying to get people, talking heads, to talk about General Obasanjo. I met Nelson Mandela, you know, Robert McNamara, Secretary of State of Defense, Secretary of Defense, United States, the former president of Germany, Helmut Schmidt, and I met them one-on-one like this, you know, on the strength of an idea that some people were going to kill. You know, so don't let your ideas die. Keep pushing it. When there are people who don't care. Anyway, cut long story short, he said to me that, okay, so tell me about it. I told him, I said, okay, you've seen Long Walk to Freedom now. He said, yes, seen it. He had read the book. And I said, okay, fine. There's a movie. I think you should see. We didn't have YouTube in those days, so there was no place you could refer anybody to. You needed to get disc. So I said, okay, I'll bring the disc. And then he said, okay, all right, leave your number. I had, at this time, I already acquired 090. So my number is 090878480, you know. And he said to me, all right, I'll call you. And then the VP's office was upstairs then, you know. I then decided and I left. I was leaving. As soon as I was getting out of the last gate to the foyer in the villa, my phone just rang. I'd picked my phone from the security details at this time because they wouldn't let you take it up. So I said I'd picked it. And the phone just rang and I didn't know it was an unknown number. So I picked it and he said, Daramola? I said, yes. He said, come back. You know, so I turned around and then dropped my phone again. I went there. I said, "Oh, guy wants to see you." See vice president like that, me like this, Ekiti boy, you know. So, you know. So I said, "Okay." So he held me off a bit, and then said something in him in Hausa, and I speak Hausa. I said, "Okay, also." I said that he's here. You know. So I said, "Okay." I guess he said I should come in, and then I went in. I said, "Oh, young man, how are you?" I said, "Fine, sir." So what is this idea that Baba has endorsed for you and it's not giving money? You know our Baba won't give you money. I said, yes. I said that. So I went through the same process again. Told him, I said, fascinating. I'll fund it. And he said, what do you want us to do now? I said, I want to bring the entire team to come and meet with you. And all of that. I said, oh yeah. Abdullah, Abashi Tuesday. Berezost on Tuesday. You know, this is the team Nashi. I said, okay. So on Tuesday, that was a Thursday. On Tuesday, I went there and I told my friends that, oh boy, we don't get up. We don't heat up. You know. So,
Such a heat.
So, you know, so I called and said, well, we have an appointment to see the VP on Tuesday next week. And then say, it's also, I said, Esprio. So we thank God, you know, Pastor Bruce, we prayed and thank God. And then our minds are like, what's going to happen on Monday, on Tuesday? Bah. All of us were just modest like this. We were rehearsing, doing all. Anyway, cut long story short, at this time we had called the Garkuwan Kebbi. He was the former governor of Kebbi State. He was on the board. He was on the people, one of the people that we put on the team. We had called Madakin Nupe, Alaji Ebi Umar, you know, all these people that received us very nicely. We had called all of these people that, okay, fine. We had an appointment with the vice president. And don't make no mistakes about it. Atiku was the real McCoy then. He was the guy, you know. So on Tuesday we went there and then they received us. It was an elaborate meeting. And then they had me do a presentation, verbal, and then he just said, okay. Of course, Garkuwan Kebbi, was his contemporary in customs, and so they greeted him. I said, where did you get this young boy from? Blah, 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 blah. I said, it's no. Anyway, cut long story short, he now said, all right, we can go. Let him wait. And so I waited, and then that was where he now said, okay, fine, work with me. And then said, I'll send you to somebody. I won't mention the person's name. And then I went to the person and I got the check for, I won't tell you. And that was where we started from. Yeah.
Wow. Congressman. Really interested.
Thank you.
I'm sitting with all. Are you articulated or batified?
Okay. That's a political question, but I don't deny people. I will never. I will not be able to sleep if I tell you that, oh, no. Don't forget I told you about my story. I was a young man pursuing my dreams in 2008. And then, in 1998. And then in 1999, God brought this man my way.
Yeah.
And then all of that happened, and that was my big break. When I launched my JAM book, JAM gave me approval through him. For the first time, JAM had never given anybody an approval to produce the Q&A of JAM. Don't forget all those ones that are selling on the bridge in there. I got formal endorsement from JAM, and I know the process it took me to get it. He assisted me to get it. And when I launched that book, I made 9 figures without going to anybody. 2 governors attended. I'm talking about 2000 and, 2000 and what? 2000 and launched that book in 2004.
Wow.
9 figures.
That's huge.
That's it, Joe.
18 commissioners of education were there. 2 governors were there. He just told them. He also showed up physically. I told you I just do ideas. I'm not used to this contract. That's that. When I launched Niger Green Card, he endorsed it. Yeah. All right? And Niger Green Card had impact. At the point in time, we had 40,000 people on it to give discounts to young people who, this social intervention thing that people are doing today and all of that. You know, the discount culture is one of the most effective social interventions that you can do. And we've been trying to give to them, but now come to that. I have been in different situations before that I sure you had bailed me out. At a point in time, shortly after 2014, when I was attacked, and soldiers and thugs and all of that came for me in my father's house in Yore. In the run-up to Dr. Fahimi's second election, they came for me. Go and listen to Captain Kohli's tape. They mentioned Bimbo Daramola's name 12 times in a clip of 2 minutes. Where's Bimbo Daramola? They must get him today. The tape is on YouTube. Go and listen to it. Where is Daramola from? Daramola. Go and look for the tape, Captain Kohli. And so that night, I was dead ready. But I was the DG of the campaigns. As I was trying to leave to go and tell the governor, well, we've done everything that we could do. I'm going to Yore. I just turned into Tantalizers. It used to be there then. I'm not sure. Is it still there?
It's still there.
Okay. And then the whole of Tantalizer Ekiti was swarming with soldiers. Swarming. Politics has this one that we're doing now. And when I say that, some of us put our lives down. Some people they can't relate. In this state, it was war. It was war in this state. And we gave it to them. It was war. Brothers don't talk to brothers. We're baying each other's blood. So I checked. The guy who can bear me witness was Aki Ogunleye. I was in his car, in his Venza. We had campaigned, we had done everything. And PDP was hell-bent on taking this state. So I just drove into, Akin drove me, okay, man, I had backup cars and all of that. Akin drove me into Tantalizers. Oh, God. Anyway, and then the place was swarming with soldiers. And I was like, Kilun Shele. So as soon as I entered, I just went into the restroom to make a call to tell the governor, Dr. Fahimi at the time, that Oga, our soldier take back Bibayo. As soon as I entered the bedroom like this, one soldier just came after me, a young lieutenant. I'm telling you, true life story. I said, KDG name? No, I said, you are the DG. I said, yes. He said, be careful. He told me, be careful, watch your back. So I saw his tag. I won't mention his name. I saw his name tag. And I said, came to me. Yeah, I did. When he looked at me, he said, Mesa. I said, Dalla. Minaimaka. What did I do? He said, Kayan Kalinkafa.
Be careful.
Kayan Kalinkafa. Muna Kalunka. And today people just toss us around as if they've forgotten the fact that was Egypt before Canaan. It's painful, very painful. Say Kayan Kalinkafa, Muna Kalunka, and Bamu Awasa, Mu soldier and Bamu Awasa. We are soldiers and we're not messing around, we're just joking. So I said, came to me now, that Lakayan Kuri said, you know, when I started speaking out of time, I said, okay. And I said, Dalla Baniwayanka, give me your number. You know, I reckon that he was doing it in a hurry. And because it was at this time I was, flustered. When he said, if somebody said, we are watching you, and you are seeing soldiers outside. Hey. So I said, Dala Baniwaya. And now he was like, okay. The way he was dictating it, I think he had stayed for too long. And then his people they were like, what's going on there? Just about the time he dictated the last digit like this, the people just came in. They just came in. That was the hand of God. If I had not gotten the last digit, it would have been difficult for me to escape. So I left. I went into government house and told Dr. Ami. I said, Dr. Ami said, okay. By the time I got to Ire, baddest rally again in Ire. Baddest rally. Dr. Professor was saying, go to Ire in his town. He's doing rally now. It was just that I was ready. So we went, and then the whole of the town emptied into my house, blah, 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 and all of that. And I knew that they were going to come for us. Go and watch Captain Kohli's tape if I'm lying. And then at about to one, I just saw the number of the guy. And he said, DG, kana enani? Nashi nagida. Da kakoma the wori, munazwa. Said, where are you now? I said, I'm at home. He said, leave now, we're away. And I'm not afraid. I just told my backup, I said, yeah, there's going to be war. Because I was ready also. And we had our team. Let me put it like that. We're ready.
Men months.
Men
day.
We were ready. Nobody would deny that. We were ready. So, I quickly told my people that I said, this is going to be hot. So we got to be careful. And then minimum casualty. So they said, okay. So people just went across the fence. They couldn't know the house more than us now. We knew where they were coming from. So we had strategic advantage. So all of a sudden, my father saw that there was movement. What's going on? Bimbo, thought just came into me. I said, Bimbo, you have it's an 89-year-old man. There will be casualties on our side and on their side. Do you want to do this? I just dropped my head and I called my uncle of blessed memory. I said, bring Okada. While he was struggling with Okada, that's what he told me. While he was struggling with Okada to get the keys, they were approaching. So we saw these lights. Election was war. War! So when I saw the halos of light like this, as soon as I jumped across the fence, I just landed on my weight.
Jesus.
And then I have a sleep disc today. I wear braces here. Today. When I first wanted to fix those braces, it was Ashwaji who paid for it.
Wow.
How can I forget it? Ashwaji endorsed my JAM Q&A to BRF, and they bought 39 million worth of books from me.
Wow.
So it is very difficult for me to say, are you this, are you that? I'm indebted to all of them. Indebted to both of them.
Thank you so much, Congressman. The Congress of the Congress.
And indeed, both of them were friends anyway.
And it's right from the SDP
I can even talk about that. Both of them were friends.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
It has been so expository. And we need to come back home. Ekiti. As a critical stakeholder.
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
I'm a nominal president, stakeholder. Okay. No.
You've been a former House of Representative member.
Thank God.
Who did very well. Performed.
Thank you.
To the expectation, even till now.
Thank you.
I know people still call you from your constituency.
Oh, obviously.
So, as a critical stakeholder in the Ekiti project, can you say we've gotten to where we are to be, or we can still do better?
Okay, thank you, KSL. Well, development is work in progress. It never ends. Even the United States. I remember when I first started going to the US in maybe about 5 years ago. Dulles Airport used to be like Akure Airport. Today, Dulles has got 5 concourses. You need bus to go right around it. So if that's in the United States. So development is work in progress. Everybody will come, do your bit and leave. But what is incumbent, what one will expect is that there will be an incremental growth. And that what one person has done, another person will come and build on it. Not that somebody who should have taken us thus far, will have probably set us back, and then the person who is taking over from me is coming from ground zero again. We cannot keep starting from ground zero. It can't work. And so, so like I said, it's work in progress. We're on course, at least particularly with Governor Bayomi Oyebanji. I believe we're on course. A lot of people have derogatorily said, oh, because Bimbo doesn't have a job, that's why he's now he's trying to be SA media to Governor Oyebanji. They say, Governor Oyebanji is not even accepting him. Bimbo is trying to be SA media to the wife.
Is it special assistant or special advisor?
Yeah, you do what about so, first and foremost, I am a believer, ardent believer in relationship. If you're my person, I can die because of you. When people talk about the night of shoot me, and sometimes people refer to that as joking. That was me putting my life online for an ideal and ideology that I believe in, and more so for somebody that I felt could deliver on that ideology. All right. So I believe that Governor Ibanji, okay, first and foremost, let's look at it. Who wants to talk about development when everybody is harebrained and we're fighting, we're talking at ourselves? This is the very first administration in Ekiti State where all, like you said, the critical stakeholders have agreed, are united that we were going to give this guy a breather. When Governor Niyi Adebayo, our first executive governor, was Governor Ayo Fauci, my dearest uncle and Egbon, came after him so hard, and he started with who is Ayo Fauci, and then they drove him out of town. When Governor Ayo Fauci became governor, AD didn't let him up. They didn't let up on him. They grasped him. They fought. It was war here. The leader, senator, and all of these people were on, Governor Ayo Fauci's neck. Yeah. It was war to the extent that he had to leave. They removed him. So, what kind of development would you expect from that kind of a place? So, we were the casualty of that distraction. It was a distraction, Then Governor Oni came. Then it was war. It was war by people like us. And then we're fighting. Bang, 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 bang. Then it was war. One day, Dr. Fahimi called me and said, leave now. I think we're having a meeting at Fountain Hotel. I said, Bimbo Bulewa. I said, Fountain. He said, leave now. Leave now. It wasn't good. Yeah, it was governor. No. I think he had become governor. Said, leave now. Leave now. We were having meetings at different places. At Uncle Fadipe's house in in Akure, in his house in Ishon, in Ibadan, in all sorts of places. Covertly. Myself, the present governor, Biodun Oyebanji, Senator Babafemi Ojudu, Senator Daramola, the First Lady, Mrs. Bisi Fayemi, then Adunola Inka of blessed memory, later replaced by Professor Adelabu, and then Eged was our secretary, and then Brajide Baratiba. Just a few of us. We were the strategic backbone before he got into government. And we were doing all kinds of things to ensure that, we didn't get removed. Then there was war, we kicked out Uncle Shegun. And then Uncle Shagun left, and then we came back. Who came back? Dr. Fahimi came back, and then it was war. It was even war within. Bimbo Daramola, they suspended him 5 times or 15 times. Ojudu, they kicked him out. The party said no. Oyojo, they kicked him out. Who else? Ade, they couldn't toy with Ade because it was rock solid. All of us, they thought we were dissidents. How can development happen in that kind of circumstance? So the state became the casualty because no governor had ruled this state with 2 eyes closed until one man came. And like I told the governor the other day, I said, Awe, your native intelligence is one of your greatest strengths. By divine stroke, he had brought back onto the table in different ways and formats all manner of contentions and contending factors. Today, Adeye is on the same page. Oyojo is on the same page. Bimbo Daramola is on the same page. Niyi Adebayo is on the same page. Ojudu is on the same page. MOB, give it to this guy. Come on.
Okay.
That's really, really interesting. Sir, you mentioned something because I was going to ask, but you mentioned it already. But if you can still give us a little brief insight into what actually transpired during the rerun election, because you were captured on TV. I was fresh in Ekiti then, and I think I watched it, and I was really, really interested. I was curious as to why you made that statement. Shoot me. What really transpired?
Are you going to let them buy my book, so? Because I keep it. It's true. Maybe I don't have any job anymore. So I'm putting all of these things in my book. That book is going to take me like 3 or 4 years to finish. I've been writing and writing and writing. I probably will push out about 4 volumes in one day on that day. Okay, I'll give you snippets of that. Like I said, we used to have meetings here and there. And then we had just concluded one meeting in Ibadan. I think it was Monday. The same group, all of us. Aduniola Inka, I think. Yes, Aduniola Inka, my sweetheart, my sister's sister. God rest her soul. Dr. Fahimi himself, Erelu, Bisifahimi, I think Brafemi was there, Daramola, Senator, Eged, and Tiba. We will have the meeting all through the night. It wasn't a meeting like this. Mrs. Fahimi was a very diligent hostess. She would give us food, she would give us biscuits, sweets, and it would run into the night. Serious discussions. We were having this meeting once in a month, 3 years before he became governor. 3 years, once in a month, sometimes twice, as the need arose. So, we had gone through all manner of litigations, back and fro, here and there. The court had granted our prayers, thrown it out, and accepted. Long and short of it, Justice Salami said we should go to do a rerun. All right. And so we had this meeting through the night and we woke up. And then the morning, they wanted to give us, I think they woke up. So when we were rounding up that meeting, Aduniola Inka is not alive, but Miss Fahimi is alive. And then the governor was there. It was there. And I said, sir, whatever happens on Saturday, deny me. Whatever happens. Don't forget I said that, Mommy, if I want to fight you, I'm a nobody, but I'm not afraid of war. But and then is it worth it now? Anyway, so I said, whatever happens I love Dr. Fahimi, Kai. And I love Ekiti. And I love the Progressive Party. So I said, whatever happens on Saturday, the day of the rerun, as if I knew. I didn't know. But I said, whatever happens. But I knew what my plan was. Deny me. So I said, okay, no problem. So we got to Ekiti. And then back. We were getting ready. Of course, Saburi Biobaku Bankole had come here to threaten us on Wednesday. How low soldier? How low soldier? Our talo mopo ni josi. How low soldier? How low soldier? Our talo mopo ni josi. Our talo mopo ni josi. Because of elections. But today, who are we? Where are we? Anyway, they did their rally. It was supposed to be the election was in Oye. They call it the War of Oye, where PDP brought 18,000 votes. And then it was my lot to also put together a working strategy. And the present commissioner for infrastructure will bear me witness. He jokes with me and he calls me lock in, lock down, lock out. That was my strategic paper for that election. Professor, what's his name now?
Bolaji.
Professor Bolaji Aluko. So if I'm lying, go and ask him. He calls me lock in, lock down, lock out. Those were my strategies for that election. We just had to keep everybody out of that space. It must be Oye people that will vote at that election. Come watch me. And don't forget that it was PDP at the center. All the war, all the... You needed to have seen the way they came to show force when they came to campaign. They had like almost 80 vehicles with menacingly looking soldiers. But I was on the third. And you don't need look on. I'm a fad now. So we went to the elections and the strategy worked. And of course, due credit to Dr. Fahimi, did his own bit. Senator Judu did his own bit. Everybody, Otumani Adebayo did their own bit. By and large, that strategy worked. We kept everybody head out. And the vote that was 18,000 was reduced to 3,000. And by the time they knew that if they couldn't return as many votes as the one that they claimed they had before, the election was lost and over. All other places were doing good. And then when you talk, long, do you know that the ballot paper, the voters' cards that people use to vote, I went to bring them from Akure, from a guy called Yadeka. On my way coming back into town, soldiers are taking over. One of them put his boot on my head. This head. Said, the election back. He said, you don't know that there will be election. And I said, I'm banning Kogilani that they gave me contract. And that's what I want to go and deliver. He looked at me, said, can I check it? They just checked and I put those things, I packed it inside empty cases of, empty shells of desktops in Akure, and I brought them in. As I was bringing them, they stopped me at Ijutabuli. Maybe there were no cameras there. The people saw shoot me now. They didn't sit down. Once they opened that thing like this, voters' cards just came out. I said, K. And they said, don't sit down, lie down. Bah! I'm not lying. And then said, Damu Keshe Kayo. K-Y. So I now said, Dalla, Kariku Keshe, Dalla. I was speaking outside to them. He now said, okay. He now said, after a while, I begged him. I said, Narukukani. He said, okay. And after I said, Bausheni, that's in one of us. So they allowed me to pass. And I drove that thing to Isham. And then to even get people to come from Ikoli to come and vote and all of that, they couldn't. We had to drive to Ido. People met us at Ifaki to collect their own. And today. Anyway, so we had that elections, and then the votes reduced to 3,000 votes. And then I collected the results from Oye, and then I was driving back into town. The whole city had exploded. You know, and then we're bringing it to the result to collation center. At this time, they knew that the game was up because of, you know, the results coming out that we had seen. We had the situation room in Dr. Amin's house in Nishon, and we're feeding them back. And then by the time we got to the collation center, we started noticing that they were dilly-dallying, and I'm an emotional person. I said, people, Before that time, I knew that, I suspected, I didn't know. So we did the needful in that location. Well, if they had shot me that night, let me tell you for the first time, if they had shot me that night, casualties would be, blood would be flowing like this. I'll tell you for the first time. And only one person can attest to what we already put there. Only one person, and the person is still alive. So when the woman was dilly-dallying about whether she was going to announce and this and that, and I was like, declare this result now. And then they would say, then they came, we will shoot you now. I said, okay, shoot me now. And I said, madam, you have your conscience to deal with. Blah, 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 blah. And somebody called me from Dubai. I said, Bimbo, you're on national television and you're doing this. If they're not going to allow Coyote, will you just leave these people? I said, no. I said, okay, give the phone to me. And then they were begging me. I said, no, today, you know. I said, yes. My father said he went to the restroom like 7 times, watching his son standing before guns. My father is alive, go and ask him. I didn't know all of these things. It was like the devil had taken my mind, maybe. But that's power of love, you know. And then today, we don't matter in the party anymore. But it's okay. I mean, we stood for what we believed in. It was a conviction-driven situation. And knowing what I know now, granted the same situation at the time, yes, maybe I will, you know. But today, not anymore.
Thank you for this, you know, we are hearing it as a story, but this is, you know, eyes opener for some of us, and for some of us to learn. Now, my question is, with the struggle that you went through, I don't want to call it war, but with the struggle you went through, what is your relationship with the former governor of California, president?
Current relationship.
Well, he's on his own, I'm on my own. No more, no less.
Congressman, can you take that again? Like,
you don't want me to say this is my book, Abby?
so, like, I would love to.
No, wait for my book. I mean, Dr. Fahmy will take a couple of chapters there. My relationship with Dr. Fahmy will take so many chapters, maybe a minimum of 2 or 3 chapters in the book. So, you know, but today, it's there.
I hope the book is coming very soon.
It may not be very soon because I already have one that may come out in November. It's titled "Who Wants to Be a Politician?" You know, but the other one is because a number of people are asking me. I've had, I swear to God, sorry that I'm swearing. I've had, today I'm here. I've had over 10 groups come to see me today. You'll see them on my page tomorrow if I'm lying. Just when I come into town, sometimes this is touching for me. The number of people who come to see me, who come to all kinds of things, you know. Some of them want to share a part of my story, want to hear a part of my story, you know, and all of that. And I'm willing to do that, you know. So my memoirs may not come out until sometime, maybe middle of next year or 3rd quarter of next year, because I have a lot of work to do on it. But this other one may come out in December. So my relationship with him, his wife, and all of that, everybody, we just day your day. Can you call day second body? You know, so a day in there, I did my day. I wish it was different.
Thank you very much, sir. lot. And, okay, in 2022, it was rumored that you were not in support with the current governor of the state, Governor Bimbo. But now you refer to him as your friend.
He's always been my, even at that time, he was my friend. He's been my friend, you know. That's what I think, Sha.
But it was rumored at that point.
Yes.
Do you have any light to share to that?
Okay, you're asking me all kinds of controversies. You want a controversial?
No, we just want answers.
Okay, fine. Number one, I'd known Governor Biodun Abayomi Oyebanji for maybe 32 years. Like this. He will come to my place, I will go to his, we're Buddhists. Like Buddhists. You can't deny it. I call him Abbey City. We were the same strategic think tank committee of Dr. Amy for almost 7 years. We either ride in his car when you're coming back, myself, himself, and the guy said, yes, that's the other person. We either ride in my car or ride in, and all of that. And when he turned 50, it was me and one or two other person that Mrs. Fayemi said should put him on the chair of 50, because I clocked 50, 1 month before him and all of that. I don't sacrifice my friends. And I'm too sure he knows the Bimbo that he knows. So maybe it's changed, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But the Bimbo that he knows that, if I'm not, it was circumstantial. I ran for House of Reps in 2007. The system worked against me. I ran in 2011. In spite of the war, they wanted to take it, but I didn't know. I was in 2 courts. In spite of that shooting that you talked about. I was in 2 courts going to election in 2007. In 2011, they wanted to make me commissioner for information. For somebody who ran, and I was a major pillar of this party. I followed the trajectory of this party. I challenged anybody to fault it. I joined as ACD to AC to ACN, and then I went to the parliament as a member of the ACN. I was a thorn in President Jonathan's skin. He took me on a trip to Trinidad and Tobago for 9 days to persuade me to say, cool down. That's another story. I said, sit on my bed and talk to me. I said, President, I can't sit on your bed. We funded the party in our own small way. At a point in time, I printed 160, and a whole lot of people did all sorts of things. So I'm talking about my own. 160,000 posters in the run-up to this party, to what we have to do. At one particular rally in Ido, the headquarters of the Northern Senatorial District, Baba Olumilua of blessed memory called me and said, Ọmọ wa kan wà níbí. Ọmọ mi Bimbo ya dìde dúró síbí. And he told the entire crowd to point at me and said, gbogbo nǹkan tó bá wà nínú ẹgbẹ́ ìwà rí. Listen, there was Egypt before Canaan. Today, people have suddenly forgotten that there was a Jordan. And I'm not alone. There are some other people like that. But mine is a different inflection point. And I'm not waxing this for pity party. Where but you see, the point is that there are some scars. The wound may heal, but the scars will be evident for life.
Thank you, Congressman. So, you won't be contesting against your friend in 2026?
Kasali, how can? No.
So you are not contesting?
Against Biodu?
2026?
Abba, no. Go possible now. Go possible. I think he is trying. This is my honest opinion, and I don't care what anybody says about it. I think he also wants to do well for this state, do well by and for the people of this state. I posted something on my page, and I look for little things sometimes. It's little things that bespeaks the mind of somebody. You know, a friend of mine said to me that when I go to visit offices of people, I don't check them by what I see in the office of the MD. I check and assess them by the quality of their restrooms or the restrooms that the public people use. That's how I know people. I have seen, okay, fine, I'll give you 2 examples. Only yesterday. Okay, let me leave that one. One time, I was somewhere and he said, away. He calls me away. And sometimes I call him away, sometimes I call him Abisiti, but he's governor now, so, you know. So I said, he said, do you know that I have not even bought a brand new car for myself? It takes personal discipline to say that. Whatever anybody might say, I don't care. You take me really sorry. Listen, there are some things, even if he were to be acted, this script is good. Yes, a script that will save Ekiti State almost 2 billion naira. If you had bought 3 Lexus Jeep 4 or 560 hammered or treated vehicles, there's none of those cars, those are just trucks that cost less than 560 or 600 million. By the decision of one man, he said, no, I will use old cars. And it's been 2 years running now. If he had bought 1 for his wife, 2 for himself, 1 official, another 1 backup, nobody will have said, okay, it's true to times, okay, it's expected. But he said, no, I will drive the old cars. He told me, I said, listen, that car is my own. And that one, that's what I would do. Because I ran for governor here. If I were in his shoes, I probably would do that. Because I don't care. I wear 25,000 Ankara. I don't have any point to prove to anybody. I don't compete. I don't compare. Number 2, he told me, he said, one time I was there and he was saying that he had 3 engagements to do. I think 1 in Lagos, 1 Abuja, and somewhere in southeast or south. And then somebody that we both know offered to give him a private jet. And he declined. And I'm like, Governor, you're flogging yourself too much. You go to the airport, you do this. Why don't you just use this? And he said, how many people will I tell that I'm not using Ekiti people's funds to fund a newly acquired lifestyle of flying private jets? That's humility as you speak. That's beyond Abayami for you. Whether it is acting, it's a good act. But you see consistency?
Yeah.
You see the consistency? And then we see all of these things that he's trying to do and all of that, and I don't have any reason to patronize him. I don't have anything. It's okay. Anyway, I've endured all sorts for 9 years. Even when I was in the House of Representatives, I had 2 cars. Yes. No, I had 3. I had the one they gave to us that they started deducting from us, the 5, and then I had another one. I had the truck. That's all. I don't live my life to please anybody. So, and then how much do I eat today? I don't even, I'm watching my weight and all of that. I probably eat once today. I've eaten how many times today? Once. And what was it? Momo. I know sicko. But I like it. I breathe better. I don't sleep well, yes. I'm not very gifted with sleeping. But I'm happy. My body is lighter. My head reasons better, clarity and all of that. So, I mean, if we don't get appointment, alhamdulillah, we thank God. I have life. And I'm healthy. To God be all the glory. So, I don't have any reason to patronize him. And then the other day, only yesterday when I was coming in, I saw his wife on the plane. We met while we were together. And He was just like basic. And I'm like, This woman could have said, oh yeah, I want the governor saying now, I fell for PJ. You know, and she queued quietly and then sat in a chair. No SSS driving us here and there. No. And when we got off the plane, she said to me, my husband has told me that we must not forget ourselves. Yes, she told me that. That are we going to be blind to the realities of the people? Oh God. And you say, oh yeah, no.
It's okay.
I mean, I'm not contesting against him.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Congressman. You really said a lot and opened our eyes to a lot. Then over the years, one thing we can attest to is the fact that you always have a lot of young people around.
That's my main button.
And minus having such young people around you, we've seen a lot of them that have become leaders in different locations, even those that despite being from Ekiti State, they're actually leaders in another state, courtesy of your influence and working with you.
To God be the glory.
So, my question is that what advice do you have for youths in Ekiti State in terms of youth development?
Well, let me say this. I love the young people like my blood. That's the truth. And I've tried in my own small way to show it. Give 2050 jam forms of people. NYC came today, NYC came here today. They came to meet me today, invited me to their function and all of that and all. And then while they were talking, two of them said, the jam form that took me to the university, you are the one that bought it for me. Yes. We have doctors today to the glory of God and all of that. 2050. That's the one that we did en bloc, not the ones of 200, 300. If you are counting all of those, you probably be counting about maybe 4,000, 5,000. To the glory of God, we bought 64 cars for people as members of representatives. To the glory of God, God gave us the grace to also build a hospital for a 32-bed hospital for the people. But I've given it to government now. And as at the last time I checked, they've had, I think about 160 deliveries, only one died. Before now, maybe 90 or 100 will have died. Child mortality will have been through the roof as it was, and even maternal mortality as well. You know. But guess what? I told them today, I said, I will also be eternally grateful to the young people who have also aligned with me. It's a privilege. I'll give you an example. The night of the gubernatorial elections, there were 32 people, 31 others who contested in 2018 for governor of this state, and I was one of them. When that thing, stalemated, the young people of Ekiti stayed with me and worked with me. Oh! This was like 7 to 8, and nobody believed it. People saw it all over the world. To those guys, I hold them. I may not know them, but the way to pay back is to continue to do whatever I can for any young person, particularly of this state's extraction. But beyond that, I've also been let down by a number of them. Who probably, were eating from the same plate. The first thing they did when they got into power in 2018 was to come after my so-called, Fashola said, may our loyalties not be tested. And the guys who couldn't, I called them when they were poaching my boys. I sympathized with those guys because I said, you don't know these people. I gave my heart to you. These people are monkeying with you. Sometimes we wear the same shirt. So my boys, they lived in my house. Some of them made their babies in my house. Yes. We got 64 people jobs. You understand? Now, I'm not saying this about myself. I'm just saying that I also feel increasingly compelled to pay back every time I see the footage of that day when they were coming. And then some of them had stayed with me and by me through thick and thin till this day. There are people who have stayed with me. If you go outside and now you see, they won't go. Until I'm going to turn off, they won't leave. And for those people, they remain symptomatic indices of why I will eternally be grateful to them. My appeal to them is this thing about settling for little. Can't take them anywhere. They can't. A whole lot of them are sold their powers, their potentials, their possibilities for filthy lucre. They don't know the power. I called them in 2018. I said, guys, what does this election mean to you? What does this election mean to you? 217 of them. I said, are youths fools or tools? And I held that meeting at Christ School at Ekiti. I said, listen, don't monkey with it. Give me the opportunity to work for you. Every one thing you've seen me, by the grace of God, do as members of, I'm going to do times 6 of it. I said, I will sit with every one of you. And I asked them, I said, how many of you have held your own 1 million naira in your account before? Only 5 people raised their hands up. So I said, okay, cut long, so let me know. So I said to them, I said, give me a chance to do this. But guess what? They went and settled for 100,000 naira. And they've been diskinned now. So my appeal, my advice, you know, I know some of them will not listen. You cannot, some of these people are just monkeying with these people. They don't love them. And love is, you know this from me, if anybody loves you, you will show it. We used to have a song when we were in the university in those days. It goes like this. If you say you love somebody, you got to let them know. You know? And then it goes to, if you say you love somebody, you got to let it show. You must show. You know? But when you start, you know. So it's going to be a difficult call to bring these guys back. Some of them are long gone into pettiness and into settling for nothing. And that is why, you know, life is kicking them in their groins and all of that. But for the ones who care to know, stay resolute, resolved, and go for the real thing. Don't let anybody sell you a dummy anymore.
I want to say a very big thank you to Bimbo Ekiti. Bimbo.
Nítorí ọjọ́ ọ̀la wa.
Nítorí ọjọ́ ọ̀la wa. Greater Ekiti.
Is there, yes. Even let's talk Ekiti, Papa.
yes. Let's talk Ekiti also.
I said we all have a stake.
Sir, I really want to appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much.
From coming down all the way from Abuja, because we disturbed him a lot with calls.
Thank you very much.
We really say a very big thank you.
Thank you very much.
Actually want to bring you after we brought Baba Deji Fasun. But because of his tight schedule, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Let's Talk Ekiti crew, we say thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
So I believe Bimbo Ekiti is endorsing Let's Talk Ekiti. Oh,
absolutely. You know, I said it before. Still for the fact that I'll send you an invoice for using mine. But it's okay. Again, let me say that I'm impressed. You know, KSL, I see your write-up. I see, you know, you are very, very perceptive, very intuitive, and you also exemplify loyalty, you know, to your boss. That's very impressive. You know.
Thank you, sir.
I told her one day, I said, when we were both looking for tickets the second time around, I said, you see now. You took around Anyway, you guys are doing a good job. I feel what you're doing would attract people to this state. It also shows the kind of potentials that people have. I'm impressed, honestly. What were people waiting for before now? And I'm just, you may have a little bit of teething problem and all of that. Just hold on. 6 months. Continue to, you know, the philosophy of bringing, you know, people that can speak to EUs and all of that. It will be a must-watch podcast. You've only done 3. I don't know the kind of followers that, but just wait. I guarantee you, by the grace of God, between now And next 6-7 months, you should be pulling not less than 400,000 followers and viewers. You will see, sharpen your questions the way you have sharpened them now, the kind of questions you're putting up, and the kind of commitment and the bright insights that you have. Things are going to happen, and everybody will feel that, who are they bringing again? Who are they bringing again? After this useless man that they have brought here.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Till next time,
Let's
let's talk
talk
Ekiti.